الحمد لله رب العالمين ونصلي ونسلم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم. الحديث العشرون حديث number 20 عن أبي عمرو عقبة بن عمرو الأنصاري البدري عن أبي مسعود عقبة بن عمرو الأنصاري البدري رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن مما أدرك الناس من كلام النبوة الأولى إذا لم تستح فاصنع ما شئت. رواه البخاري. Reported by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala, hadith number 20 in the sequence of 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah, on the authority of Abu Mas'ud, who says that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, from amongst the things that people continuously found and heard from the words of the previous prophets, the previous messengers, was one concise fundamental, which is, if you have no shame, then do as you wish. Very concise, shorter hadith like the ones we've covered before, but full of meaning. The attribute of bashfulness, shamefulness, modesty is quite wide and subjective depending on your background, where you're at, your surrounding. But in general, modesty is all positive. Rasulullah says, Al-haya'u kulluhu khair. Modesty, shamefulness, it's all positive. Any form of modesty and shamefulness and bashfulness is good for a person to have as part of their Muslim identity. The ulama, they mentioned al-haya, shamefulness, and iman going together hand in hand. When iman goes up, haya goes up. When haya goes up, iman goes up. Same with the other way around. If haya goes down, then your iman automatically is affected. If you're not aware of your surrounding, if you don't feel ashamed in front of other people, then your haya goes down accordingly. Similarly, if your iman goes down, then haya and shamefulness automatically also would be lowered. And there is a reason why the Messenger literally says, if you do not have shame, then do as you wish. Why? Because there's simply nothing to stop you from doing what you wish. The very reason why we hold ourselves back from the prohibition of Allah Azza wa Jal and we adhere to His obligations is the haya that we have for Allah Azza wa Jal. The shame we feel, that feeling within the heart that you get when you know you be commanded to fulfill an obligation or stay away from a prohibition. Therefore, if you do not have shame, any type of shame, you don't have haya from people, you don't have haya from surrounding, you don't have haya from Allah Azza wa Jal, most importantly, then there is nothing to stop you from being a shameful person. There is nothing to stop you from swaying off the straight path. What keeps you aligned on as-sirat al-mustaqim is having shame, having haya. Now, there are different types of haya that we all need to keep in mind to complete the full version of shamefulness that we all ought to have and practice in our daily lives. Number one, as we mentioned, the most important type of haya is haya towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Haya towards Allah Azza wa Jal. Understanding fully being aware, not just saying that Allah is watching, Allah is seeing. No, knowing Allah Azza wa Jal is watching you, is hearing you. He is there trying to get you away from sins, commanding you to fulfill His obligations, no matter where you are, especially when you're alone. When you're alone by yourself, no one watching, this is when true haya towards Allah Azza wa Jal is tested. That is when you'll know if you have haya towards Allah Azza wa Jal or not. If you wonder if you have haya, if you have a live heart, think of how you act when you're not in front of others. And you know straight away if there is any haya towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it is such a shameful act to abide by Islam's regulations in front of others, but then when you're by yourself, then you let loose, you let go, and you're different. You show in front of other people your external, so-called practicing version, but then when you go home and you're by yourself and there's no one watching and you're in your room and you're locked in a room and there's no one and you're on your phone, especially nowadays when it's so difficult. It is so difficult. The tools of shaitan has never been stronger. It is right there in your pocket, fits in your pocket, in your hand. No one will see what you're doing. And anyone can delete history, or anyone can put VPN on. You know? Especially the youngsters need to keep this in mind. When you're alone, remember that Allah Azza wa Jalla is watching you. And that is also the flip side, like we mentioned before. When you are obedient, subservient, worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla in private, you are honored, you are blessed. Like the ones who wake up when people are sleeping to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal alone, or sitting down remembering Allah Azza wa Jal's bounties and blessings and then shedding tears. And we all know of the reward of these. You know, praying at night. Few people are honored to be able to stand in prayer. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of his first things to say in Medina, he could have said anything. He could have said, make sure you give sadaqah, make sure you fast, make sure you remember your oath. Yeah, I've just come to Medina. The first time he's coming into Medina and the crowd is greeting him and he has the opportunity. This is the first time Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam opens his blessed mouth in the city of Medina. And one of the first things he says, تُصَلِّي بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامٌ تَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةَ بِسَلَامٍ. Wake up and pray when people are sleeping so that you enter Jannah in peace. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make us from amongst those people. So you can imagine such importance emphasized on worshipping Allah Azza wa Jalla alone, away from eyes, away from people, away from the creation. In the darkness of night, alone you and Allah Azza wa Jalla. And also with sitting down remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and shedding tears. One of the groups under the shade of the throne of Allah Azza wa Jal, the ones who sit down and remember Allah Azza wa Jal and they start shedding tears, and it's not difficult. But When in our busy life did we have time to just sit down and it's only you and Allah Azza wa Jalla and no one else? And you're like, Ya Allah, my family members in the other rooms, they can't hear me right now. But you above the 7 heavens can hear not only what I'm saying, but can hear every heartbeat in my chest and can hear every signal your brain is sending to the limbs and back. Ya Rabb. But then your family member right next to you sleeping can't hear you. But the one above the 7 heavens can hear you and hear every single member of his creation. But then you still have that alone time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try it for yourself. Try it. Just give it. Just 2 rak'at. You know, there's a misconception. People think that when you say night prayer, you have to just stand long hours and pray. Like you have to say Baqarah and Ali Imran. No. 2 rak'at. Literally right now. Right now. You can pray. I know I said you should pray the sunnah at home, right? But just practicing, right, until you get used to it, you pray. Any 2 nafil right now, from now until Salat al-Fajr is counted as night prayer. So it is emphasized that we are obedient servants, worshippers of Allah Azza wa Jal when no one can see us. And at the same time that we fear Allah Azza wa Jal, we have haya towards Him, and we know that He's watching and He's hearing. He is ever present, subhanah. The second is having haya towards the angels. Having haya towards the angels, both the angels that are around you at all times, and also the ones that are literally writing down and recording every one of your deeds. A lot of the time, we tend to forget that we are being recorded. How careful are you when someone has a CCTV camera in your face, or someone puts a camera in your face, and you know you're being recorded? How careful are you what you say, what you do, how you act? Then why are we not that serious when it comes to the 2 angels writing down every single word, every single action, and every part of your life, be it positive or negative? Right? We remember having shame, you know, like angels are around you, just like people are around you, just that we can't see them. So out of like having haya towards the angels, remember that when you're about to disobey Allah Azza wa Jalla, these are angels that are there for you, to protect you, and they're watching you, they're there close to you, just you can't see them. So don't disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you know that not only Allah Azza wa Jalla is watching, but His angels as well. Lastly is haya towards people. You know, the obvious one, that you know how to act with everyone. You don't degrade yourself. You don't degrade yourself. You have shame. Some people think that shamefulness equals weakness. That you need to be tough. You can't be shamed. If you have shame, what kind of a man are you? No. Uthman radiallahu anhu was the best of men. He was literally known for his shyness. People think shyness is weakness. Uthman radiallahu anhu was the most shy person. Did anyone ever tell Uthman radiallahu anhu that you were less of a man because you were shy? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was sitting with his legs out. Abu Bakr walks in radiallahu anhu, he doesn't move. Umar radiallahu anhu walks in, he doesn't move. Uthman radiallahu walks in. Uthman radiallahu anhu walks in, and then he sits properly. He sits in a composed way. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, they came, you didn't do anything. Uthman comes in and you move and you change your position. And how can I not feel shyness towards someone whom the angels feel shyness towards, due to his excessive haya, excessive modesty? They say that Uthman radiallahu anhu, when he used to shower, he never used to uncover himself, the lower garments. It used to be a struggle for him to shower. He's by himself, by the way. obviously, he will find it difficult to uncover himself just to shower, and he's by himself. He will uncover in the most modest way, trying to hide himself, try to lower himself, wash himself, and then cover himself quickly again. This is the shyness of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Dhun Nurayn Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu. So don't be fooled by people that try to display shyness as weakness. La wallah. Al-haya kullu khair. If someone tries to tell you shyness is weakness, say Rasulullah says, Al-haya kullu khair. Every part of modesty is good. So when you are in front of people, don't degrade yourself. Know how to act in front of others. Have haya, have modesty. Know how to behave with elders. Know how to behave with youngsters. Know how to behave with the ones that are your age and at your level, the level above you, the level below you. So no one is oppressed. No one is wrong. You speak and you interact with them in the right way with manners as an upright Muslim with haya. You have that shamefulness. You wouldn't make a fool and mockery out of yourself in front of others. You wouldn't just open your mouth and say anything and degrade yourself. You remember having haya and staying composed as a Muslim. And we need to combine al-haya with al-hikmah. Just because you have haya towards people, again, you can't have haya towards people and then not have haya towards Allah Azza wa Jal. It doesn't work. You're fooling yourself if you have haya towards others, but then you're shameful in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. Then that part with the angels and the people doesn't count. There's no point if you so-called shameful, you have shame in front of people, but then you don't care about that in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we remember there are times when haya and having shame cannot be used in certain scenarios where you need to do the right thing. This is why you judge every situation accordingly, and then you apply haya in the matter that suits that scenario, and not take al-haya out of context or use it in the wrong way. For example, when you need to say the right thing or do the right thing, it's not an excuse to say, I felt shy to say, I felt shy to do the right. No, this is not the way the haya is applied. You can't say that you feel shy to do the right thing, or feel shy to talk to someone about something. Like we said, we need to be firm believers. Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa habbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if. You need to be a strong believer. This is why we say that the strength and weakness of a believer doesn't necessarily connect with shyness. At times, shyness can be a form of weakness. For example, if you see someone doing something wrong, or if you need to tell someone, "No, I'm shy. This is not right. This is not right." Or when answering questions, or when you want to ask a question, you want to know something, a crucial matter. You need answers to it, but then you say, "No, I didn't ask because I felt shy." No, this is not right. Or if a question is heard and you have the answer, but then you say, "I felt shy, so I didn't answer." Like Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked the companion, he was testing the companions, he said to them, which tree from the desert do you know of that its leaves do not fall, and it's similar to the Muslim in its characteristics. Which tree is it that is firm, the leaves don't fall from it, and it resembles a Muslim the most? Yeah? So Rasulullah, he tested everyone, and they started, the companions, they start thinking, oh, this tree, that tree, this tree, that tree. Abdullah ibn Umar was there, and he realized that Rasulullah is referring to the palm tree, right? The palm tree is high up in the sky, the leaf doesn't fall, it bears fruits year in, year out, it doesn't die in the winter, yeah, and it resembles the Muslim the most in its own ways. But he didn't answer, so Rasulullah himself said it. Ibn Umar, then he went to his dad and says, I knew the answer, but I just felt shy, I couldn't answer him. Umar ibn Khattab said, it would have been preferable for me, oh my son, if you answered Rasulullah there. He goes, but how can I answer when the senior companions were there? You know, showing us that even if there are others in that majlis, you strive for competing in goodness. And if you know the answer to questions, then you're able to answer them, and you ought to answer those questions. There is no excuse just because you feel shy, you know. So you need to apply the shyness in the right way, you know. So shyness equals strength, and not take it out of context. Do the right thing, answer questions. If you have questions yourself, ask them, but at the same time, yeah, you apply haya in your own way depending on the situation. And this is the very hadith that Imam al-Sha'bi, rahimahullah, used when he saw a drunk man on the streets, shameful, would drink in public, would get punished, he would come out again, carry on drinking. So one day Imam al-Sha'bi, he was on a donkey, you know, riding through the city, people gathered around him, recognizing the muhaddith Imam al-Sha'bi. This drunk man stops the whole parade. He has no clue who Imam al-Sha'bi is. Who's this person? Why are you guys here? Half drunk with a bottle in his hand. They say, this is Imam al-Sha'bi. Who's Sha'bi? The muhaddith. He says, what's a muhaddith? So he says, a muhaddith is someone who narrates a hadith, teaches a hadith, studies a hadith. That's what he does. So he goes, well, if you're a muhaddith, yallah, tell me a hadith. Tell me a hadith. So he says this very hadith that we mentioned today. إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِ فَاسْنَى مَا شِئْتَ. If you do not have shame, then do as you wish. There's nothing to stop you. So now this man understood what the Imam is trying to tell him. And the hadith struck him right in his heart, and he went home and he repented and did wudu and went to the masjid. Went to the masjid, and then he traveled to Medina. He traveled to Medina to study under Imam Malik, rahimahullah, who was alive at the time, teaching in the Prophet's Masjid. So he studied for years and years, being classmates with Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, who he studied until he himself became a muhaddith. Then he intended on going back to Sham, Syria, to visit Imam al-Sha'bi, rahimahullah. When he got there, they said that Imam al-Sha'bi had passed away. But this one hadith that we are talking about today, discussing today, this is what led to his repentance. Abdullah ibn Maslamat al-Qa'nabi. He is one of the main teachers of Imam Bukhari, rahimahullah. Imagine, you know, someone who turned his life around at an old age, adult. Yeah, a shameful person who found haya through the blessed words of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, repented, and then rose the ranks to become a muhaddith in his own right, teaching the likes, being classmates with the likes of Imam al-Shafi'i, and teaching the likes of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to be servants that's got haya in their hearts for Allah Azza wa, towards Allah Azza wa Jal, towards people, towards His angels, towards the creation. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to practice the teachings of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to drink from His blessed hands near the river of Kawthar. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us goodness in both worlds. Any questions before we end?
You said earlier that those who will be honored in the eyes of Allah will get up and read the night prayer. And you stated that they will enter Jannah peacefully. And then there's another hadith that states that nobody, your deeds are not enough for you to enter Jannah. You need Allah's rahmah, His mercy. So how does that fit in, doing good deeds all your life, but then those good deeds may not be enough for you to enter Jannah. You need Allah's mercy.
In that hadith, they asked the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even you, and he says, even me. So even the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his deeds are not enough alone to get him into Jannah. It is through Allah Azza wa Jall's mercy that He allows us to enter Jannah. But it is then upon us to act in such a way that we earn that mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal and His pleasure in being pleased with us for Him to allow us to enter into Jannah. So that is the aim that we have with doing as much good as possible. Those actions themselves, of course, are not enough to get us into Jannah, because they're not even enough to pay for this dunya, you know. Pay for, first of all, your own body. So imagine if you were to be held accountable for the actions only and nothing to do with the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that He's given you the body for free, for example, given oxygen for free, all the functions of the body for free. If all of that goes away and now you have your actions, you have to pay for those blessings. And like we remember that person who worshipped Allah for decades upon decades, and it wasn't enough to pay for even half of the blessing of the eyesight alone, let alone anything else. So obviously with actions, they're not sufficient by themselves to grant us entrance into Jannah. But with those actions, we hope in the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, and then for Him to allow us to enter into Jannah. That makes sense. نعم تفضل.
On the topic of like shyness, obviously you said it links into Iman. So if someone's finding themselves becoming less shy, and obviously the Iman's, gonna inevitably be affected, what are like mitigating, what can they do to kind of mitigate that to a degree? Is it kind of like zikr? Is that something that helps?
Because haya is connected to Iman, Iman is connected to the heart. So now if haya, Iman goes down, that means your heart has become affected and it's becoming more and more deficient. So now, because of that, you need tools to be able to breathe life into your heart again. The Iman, the faith that's in the heart. And to be able to do that, you do good deeds, specifically the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, reconnecting with the Book of Allah Azza wa Jal, fixing your salawat, trying to at all times perfect your salahs. So those, as long as they rejuvenate or breathe fresh life into your heart and faith and increase your faith, that automatically will increase your haya. That makes sense. بارك الله فيك. صلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين.